So the project took place in Benin, between Togo and Nigeria, in the southern part, close to the economic capital, Cotonou, close by Porto Novo, in a town called Adjarra. We started off our journey in Cotonou, which is the economic capital of the region. Pretty much it has a deep sea port, and anything that you possibly think of exists in their market. The market's the biggest one in Benin, and it's pretty much gets goods in and out of the city. Benin in Africa in particular has had a huge boom in goods like imports and China's mass production of anything that possibly exists. Benin is doing very well economically lately, and here we have the economic capital pretty much booming. We have a lot of construction, we have a lot of so-called, we have a lot of development. I mean, people are doing fairly well in the country. The country is, the capital is growing. At the same time, there's a lot of, there's not very much planning in the city's construction, and there's pretty much garbage everywhere. And the lack of infrastructure has led to people to burn some of their garbage. I found the town to be quite beautiful. I mean, the capital still is a beautiful place. Nature is still gorgeous and whatnot. But our journey did not end. But after a brief stay in the capital, we headed out to our town, Adjarra. Adjarra is about 40 minutes away from the economic capital and 20 minutes away from the political capital. On the two-lane highway, we saw a lot of small businesses, and that seems to be what gets Benin going. A lot of small businesses. And we were pleasantly surprised with Adjarra. It was a very beautiful town that's subtropical. Huge growth. It's very close. It's slowly becoming a suburb. It has a lot of agricultural land, and it's kind of the debate or the conflict over agricultural land and building subdivisions, which is going on, but the town seems to really appreciate their agricultural space, and they understand the need for it. In Benin, famines are not common, although low nutrition is kind of endemic. It's very cheap to feed people high carbohydrate, high starch diets. On the other hand, the vitamins and the positive nutrition by vegetables and stuff, it's very expensive. So that's what the project will focus on. Well, the project did focus on. Yes, our town had everything. It had a lot of plantation projects, a little small gardens, and a lot of plantation projects, a lot of amazing artisans. It was a very diverse town. We also had something called, well, we're right beside Nigeria, and there isn't any infrastructure. So a lot of people, what they do is you want to buy gas, you literally buy it in the bottles that you see behind that young girl there. But just like the capital, Adjarra has a lot of garbage everywhere. And for a long time, the community would burn their garbage also. And they finally decided enough was enough. And they began this site called the cEDES. Here's the cEDES in its early stages. What you have here is just pretty much plowed land, preparing for gardening. And this all was a farm once, but it was very, it was eroded. So what we practiced was industrial ecology. Industrial ecology is pretty much you make your, you put inputs in and you take your outputs out, and you just keep everything kind of going. That was at least my understanding of it. Which our basic plan was that we'd take the garbage and we'd separate into the resources that which it was, and we would compost right here. What you see is where we would compost organic waste. We'd separate metals and glass and plastic. We have other uses. But we found out quite early that composting, as you can see on my very, very cheesy iMovie joke here, is that it wasn't as simple as that. It wasn't like, snap your fingers, you go from compost to a garden. It simply wasn't enough. I mean, this is a later stage in the program, and what was the not the problem, but some of our trials were cultural communication, and we learned a lot from it. It ended up being very effective, and probably more effective than we could possibly. And it required a lot of, say, how do you get people to work this hard and you're not going to pay them? At the same time, it's culturally inappropriate to volunteer them. Why should you be volunteering when you have to take care of your family? Why would you work for free for somebody when you have to take care of your family? So to get the site to work, the cEDES here, what we ended up doing was employing this sort of land tenure thing where we gave land away. This is the photos here you're seeing of the beginning of the site, is where we gave land away for free under certain agreements, and it was sort of a lease. You're given an indefinite lease to the land for free, but you have to follow certain rules, and the rules were very simple, and it ended up creating these small collectors where people would get those 4 plots as you see in the background there. A person would get, or a group of people would get 4 plots, and they could work it. At the same time, since they got the land for free, what they'd have to do is certain small labors for the group. They'd have to help us collect collective water, something in whatever way they were able to. It ended up being very successful. This is something I can go into further. What I really want to talk about right now is our tree planting operation, or tree nursery. One of the things we really want to do is enhance the environmental capacity of the land to increase our production. What we started doing was growing papayas. This was a huge success. Not only in working with cooperations, we got so many people working together to grow these papayas, but it had huge economic gain. I mean, we're selling each papaya tree for 400 francs. 400 francs is about a little underneath $1 Canadian per pound. And we were realizing about 50 Canadian cents off each one at least. And so the site was able to fund itself. We weren't as dependent on any sort of government funding. At the same time, we were able to grow and invest in new projects, invest in expanding the site, invest in anything. It was ended up being, as you see, there's a lot of women working on the site. I think at the beginning we started with 20. At the end of 3 months we were there, we ended up having about 150 women working there. It was quite impressive. Quite impressive, sorry. As you see here, what we did is we built some shades because they just can't handle the sunlight. Yeah, we worked hard, but in the end it was the relationships that we formed that I felt that was the most effective part of the program.